Hello everyone, today I'm going on a wee wander through the wonderful village of South Queensferry. So today we start the tour of South Queensferry at the Hawes Inn. Now the Hawes Inn sits right on Hawes Pier, right under the Forth Rail Bridge, and the actual pub featured in Robert Louis Stevenson's book Kidnapped, and it's still open today. It's lovely for a pub lunch or an evening meal. It's really nice. So I'm going to take a little walk along the picturesque ancient village of South Queensferry. And first of all, for all these biker types, we have the Bikers Cafe on the left hand side at the Hawes Garage, and that's great on a Saturday morning, Sunday morning for a nice bacon roll, cup of tea. And they have skullduggery beside it. Incidentally, we have a train going over the bridge right now, just to show that it's still fully functional. And just here we have the statue of some seals. Now seals, there's a huge colony of seals on Inchcombe Island, which is kind of over there, you can't really see. So that gives you a better view of the rail bridge cafe, bistro, bar. And there across there is the Harry Ramsden's. It has a lovely big car park to the right hand side and amazing for fish and chips. Now folks, I'm sure you've all heard of the Loch Ness Monster, and everyone knows she's quite an elusive beast, but everyone's looking in the wrong place. She's actually based here in South Queensferry. So as we come to the end of the first section of South Queensferry village, we just come and look across the road here, and you'll see Nessie herself in all her glory. Isn't that marvellous? The Loch Ness Monster, obviously in mosaic form, but worth it nonetheless. Isn't she beautiful? So as we come up to this corner, we start to enter the medieval village of South Queensferry, and you can see it's got the cobblestone roads, and the buildings are a real mixture of so that one says 1885 over there. That white one in front of us is 1750, so it's a real mixture of late medieval architecture. In fact, it's probably slightly newer than late medieval. And you notice the little terrace going along there. You can just walk along there, but I'm going to walk along here, as it's a busy little thoroughfare, as you can see. There's a nice little block of flats there. Looks like 1700s to me, looks a bit like the new town. And then we have these wonderful coloured buildings up here. These will all be, in my estimation, in the 1700s. And then just slightly further along you have a row of shops with a little street above it, which is rather quaint. It's absolutely no shortage of gift shops here, and gift shops, cafes, all that sort of thing. There's a bank, there's bookies, and a estate agent. But the thing I really want to show you is this black building coming into focus on the left hand side. So this building is actually called the Black Castle, and it dates back to 1626. It's actually got a date stamp on that window up there. And it was the home to a sea captain, and the story goes that he got lost at sea one time, and when he came back he blamed it on the maid and her friend who worked for him, and they were accused of witchcraft, and the two of them were eventually executed. During the 1600s, witchcraft was such a bone of contention, and if you were accused of witchcraft, it was really hard to get out of it. But this is the Black Castle, with its rather macabre story attached to it. But you could just imagine that on its own bit of land. All these houses are much newer. Apart from the pub here, this is called the Ferry Tap. This is a nice old pub as well. This is the date stamp on it is 1683. But it's nice for a pub lunch, or just for a couple of drinks or something like that. And then we have the Vennel. It takes you up to the Vennel Kirk. And this old church dates back to the 1600s as well. It's got a date stamp on it as well, 1633, and it's now a church hall. It's not an active church anymore. This is just off the high street. It's called the Vennel. It's a late medieval church. Isn't that gorgeous? And there's the old cemetery just that. So coming back down the Vennel, I'm going to take a walk along the little high street bit, what's remaining of it. And this is I'm going to walk up this little terrace here. This is called West Terrace, and it runs parallel to the high street. It's a bit more civilised to walk along. So as we walk along here, there's lots of little nice shops. Maisie's Boutique, little gift shops, physiotherapy, estate agents. And as we come down here, we can start to see the old toll booth coming into view. And the bottom of that dates back to about the 1400s. But the clock in the top bit is 1887, as you can see. And we'll just head back up these little steps. And we have a hairdresser's, Ravenous Beastie. Ravenous Beastie sounds nice. I could do that right now, I'm starving. Brewery close. And down on the right hand side there we have Orocco Pier. That's a fabulous place. That's a restaurant. And the back windows look onto the Forth Rail Bridge. It's a cracking place to go. Been there several times and the food is first class. So as we come down from the West Terrace, I'm going to take you down to the old harbour. And there's two ways to get down to it. You can turn right at the Stag Head Hotel here, or I'll take you down a prettier way, down a little lane. So you can see all these the little bakery, lots of little cafes in South Queensferry. Such a lovely place to come on a day out. Especially yesterday, it was a beautiful day yesterday in Edinburgh, and I tried to make a video but it was just impossible. Now if you look at this building here on the left hand side, this is Plewland's house, and this was built in the mid 1600s and restored in the 1950s. Classic example of architecture from that time. It's actually got a date stamp on above the doorway, 1641. But I'm going to take you down here to the old medieval harbour. Now this is called the Bellstane, and this little lane here is Harbour Lane, as you can see above, Harbour Lane. And this will take us down here, a beautiful little gallery on the left hand side here. We are open, Harbour Lane Studio. It's like walking back in time coming down here. Look at this. Pretty. Look at the little cottages. And there we go there, Harbour House. And you get a wonderful view of the Forth Rail Bridge. Again, absolutely stunning down here. So this harbour here dates back to early medieval times, and it's a wonderful view across to the Kingdom of Fife, and you can just see North Queensferry at the other side there. Now this is probably the closest bit I'll get to Inchgarvie Island by coming along here. As we're walking out there, we'll just swing round to the left. The bridge closest to us, Forth Road Bridge, and the further away one is the Queensferry Crossing. So the Queensferry Crossing was built in 2017, Forth Road Bridge 1964, and this masterpiece was 1890. Isn't that gorgeous? Magnificent. So it took 8 years to complete. Was it 250,000 gallons of paint and 6 million rivets or something like that. Can you tell I've been on Wikipedia? And coming right out on this harbour here, it's also a beautiful point to turn round and survey the village of South Queensferry. Isn't this remarkable? And just over there, where I'm going to take you in a minute, there's the old harbour called the Binks, and that dates back to the 1000s, but I'll be showing you that in a little bit. First of all, I just want to show you Inchgarvie Island, which incidentally was, you can see all the gun towers, but there's actually been fortifications on that since the 1500s, just to protect us from some conflict or other. But these gun towers here that you can see when I zoom in, these gun towers here were to protect the bridge and Rosyth naval base, which is just over there under the bridges. You can see like a blue gantry. So that was to protect the naval base and the bridge in the First and Second World Wars. So as we come up from the harbour, we come to this little delightful church. It's called the Priory, and it's an Episcopalian church, and it has a lovely scene from the Nativity. Isn't that pretty? And then we'll just walk through the churchyard, and I'm going to go down and show you a little early medieval harbour called the Bint, and this is where Queen Margaret used to launch her ferry service from. Not much to see compared to the other harbour, but it's still worth it nonetheless, and the history is a bit mind-blowing. But as we walk through the churchyard, you can see this mid-15th century church. So this dates back 600 years, and it's absolutely stunning. And we just head down this little path here to the car park. That's where I'm parked, and you can see the old anchor, signifying that it was an old harbour. And then just in front of us, just sort of to the left of that red car, is a little sign that tells us about the Bints. Everywhere you go in South Queensferry, there's a spectacular view of all the bridges. And incidentally, South Queensferry is about maybe 7 or 8 miles from the city centre, and maybe take you about 20 minutes, half an hour to get out here. There's plenty of bus services. You can get a train, obviously, because the station is up in the trees up there. But this is the Binks. This is where Queen Margaret launched her little ferry across to the other side there. Until about 1812, the natural jetty formed by these rocks was a regular landing place for the Queen's Ferry, so named since Margaret, second wife of Malcolm Canmore, King of Scots, from 1058 to 1093, endowed ships for the free passage of pilgrims and the poor, and hostels for them on either shore. It may be assumed that she used the ferry herself when going between Dunfermline and Edinburgh Castle. Now, she actually had a castle or a tower house in Dunfermline, and next to the abbey that would be. So there we go. And if you just look down to the right hand side there, that would be the actual harbour there. So they would probably launch boats as it slopes down. So there we have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed South Queensferry. I've had a lovely time walking along here. It's really peaceful and really picturesque. If you like my channel, please subscribe, and if you like this video, please like it. Very much appreciated. Thanks very much.